Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're in the medical device world, I'm sure you already know this incredibly painful truth. Standard project management tools, they just don't cut it, right? They completely miss the nuance, they practically ignore the massive regulatory burden, and honestly, they just crumble under the sheer weight of what you actually do every day. So today, we're diving into a blueprint for something called the Good Science Portfolio Hub. It's a system deliberately engineered to fix exactly that problem.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The MedTech depth problem. 2. Unifying portfolio and regulation. 3. Managing the scope. 4. A data-first architecture. 5. Views across the team. And finally, 6. The reality of compliance. Let's jump in.
Section 1. The MedTech depth problem. Reframing the paradigm.
Okay, so there is this massive underlying tension in our industry. Most of the portfolio tools out there, they are built for breadth. They're designed for companies juggling hundreds of fast-moving products with really short life cycles. But medical device companies face the exact opposite reality. You might only have, say, a handful of devices, but every single one of them is this incredibly deep, multi-year, high-stakes endeavor. I mean, it's wrapped in rigorous regulation from the absolute first concept all the way through to post-market surveillance. So the challenge in medtech isn't breadth, it's depth. And depth is literally where off-the-shelf tools just completely go blind.
Now, when you're dealing with depth, you really have to watch out for these invisible failures. These are the things that silently sink a program long before a stage gate ever turns red. Just imagine for a second a critical regulatory deliverable goes missing deep inside a messy device file. Nobody even notices until the auditor is sitting right across the table. Or a standard changes and causes what we call silent compliance drift. Or maybe you have a single specialist, like a toxicologist, who is unknowingly double-booked across 3 critical paths, quietly causing the entire portfolio schedule to slip. Crazy, right? But these are exactly the unique depth failures that keep medtech leaders up at night.
Section 2. Unifying portfolio and regulation. The structural solution.
So how do we fix this? Well, the hub achieves what a chaotic web of spreadsheets literally never could. It essentially fuses your development portfolio and your regulatory evidence into one single governed ecosystem. Because think about it. Usually your project timeline is stuck in one software. Your regulatory deliverables live in some maze of network folders, and your quality guidelines? They're buried in a PDF that, let's be honest, no one actually reads. By merging all of this together, portfolio managers get a crystal clear view of every single project. Deliverables never go missing, and current good practice is always front and center for the exact people actually writing the risk files. It's a total paradigm shift.
Moving right along to Section 3. Managing the scope, the operational spine. Right beneath the hub sits this highly structured operational spine. We're talking about a configurable stage gate ladder that meticulously tracks that deep multi-year product journey. And the absolutely vital thing here is accountability. Go, conditional go, and no-go decisions, they aren't just casual verbal agreements made over a meeting table anymore. No, they are placed firmly on the record at every single milestone, from that initial concept phase all the way out to post-market surveillance. It structures the journey so that absolutely nothing is left to memory.
Now, tied directly to those stage gates are your critical tracking elements. You've got your device registry managing every variant, plus structured homes for your risk, clinical, and quality data. But here is the absolute game changer, the standards register. It essentially acts as an addition watch bell. Literally, the exact second a required ISO standard changes, the system rings the alarm, flagging exactly which of your active documents need review. So no more guessing, and absolutely no more of those nightmare version control hunts. Every deliverable links straight back to integrated guidance.
Section 4. A data-first architecture, traceability built in.
Traceability here? It is definitely not bolted on as an afterthought. It is the absolute foundation. This architecture is deliberately engineered data-first, right down to the database level. Notice how absolutely nothing is just floating free. A stage gate links to specific deliverables, and those deliverables chain directly to the exact risks, claims, and standards behind them. You're getting this unbroken, verifiable chain of evidence from a top-level regulatory document straight down to the foundational tables and keys. It's incredibly solid.
Plus, this architecture is completely modular and highly secure right from day one. You've got over 20 specific modules, ranging from the project spine to risk, clinical, and international access, meaning your company's data is isolated right at the database level. So you aren't getting bogged down by clunky bloatware. You're literally only activating and running the specific lanes you actually need. It keeps everything incredibly secure and, frankly, relentlessly efficient.
All right, Section 5. Views across the team, grounding the benefits.
So, who actually feels the impact of all this architecture? Well, for the portfolio manager, those terrifying single points of failure are finally visible on one single screen. They can actually balance workloads before a bottleneck even happens. Authors, like your clinical leads, no longer have to hunt for templates because current good practice is served up right beside their work. Reviewers get enforced, 4eyes e-signatures to guarantee compliance. And the executives, they finally get a real-time health dashboard, meaning they never ever have to chase down a manual status report again. How great does that sound?
Which brings us to Section 6, the reality of compliance carrying the burden.
Look, because we are dealing with highly regulated records here, the system itself actually has to shoulder the compliance burden. It is simply not enough to just passively document what happened. The system has to actively ensure that all obligations are strictly enforced.
And let me tell you, that active enforcement covers massive terrain. The system comprehensively manages electronic records and signatures to meet strict Annex 11 and Part 11 requirements. It runs your full vigilance loop, tracking complaints and never ever taking its eye off those critical reporting clocks. From software safety and navigating the EU AI Act, down to global UDI and EU DAMA database registrations, it carries the weight of all of it. It even gates approvals based on a user's documented training. So the technical, the reactive, the human, it's all tightly managed, so nobody is ever left as a single point of failure.
So what does this all mean in practice? Well, it means fewer heart-stopping surprises at the gate. It means actually protecting your scarce experts from quiet burnout. By making depth visible and wiring verified knowledge directly into your workflows, the Good Science Portfolio Hub serves as this incredibly authoritative blueprint ready to build. It takes those deep, punishingly hard medtech programs and finally gives them the absolute operational seriousness they deserve. Because at the end of the day, good science, well managed, really matters.
I'm going to leave you with this final, vital challenge. When you go back to work tomorrow, take a really close look at the tools you rely on every single day. Are they just built to manage the breadth of a spreadsheet, or are they truly engineered for the depth required to protect your most complex, high-stakes medical devices? Please, don't let your biggest risks stay hidden in the shallow end. Keep asking the hard questions about how you manage your science. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.